Hey, welcome to the Thursday Checkdown. The season is over, but we're still going on, and we have got a show lined up. I'm Greg Kellogg. I'm joined by my co-host, Tipp, from the airport in Houston, on his way to fly away. And I want to call it the land of milk and honey because I don't believe California is the land of milk and honey anymore. But he's going to Vegas to meet up with the football guys. So you looking forward to that?
Oh man, I'm super excited about it. Got all the nerves out and everything. That was from the expo, but I'm excited, man. I can't wait to meet them, hang out with them for a little bit, and I can't wait to talk football with you guys, man. This is gonna be fun.
Hey, well tonight we've got a special guest. Pat Thomas is with us, but we're bringing on our replacements. Mr. Joe Carlton and Mr. Rick Brusuelas are joining us, and we're going to talk about the playoffs. And what else are we talking about, Tipp?
We're going to talk about the curse of 370. We're going to have an AI section as well, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But also, we're going to talk a little bit about the playoff games. And look, we got Pat on here. We got myself. We got two Raiders fans on here. We got to talk some Raiders. Oh. Greg always talks about
with the Brady
Lions. He always talks about Detroit Lions. Joe comes on here and talks about his Patriots. And, look, we got to talk some Raiders. That's bottom line. We're talking.
Well, the news with the Patriots and the Raiders actually overlap. But first, let's get into our to AI or not to AI segment. First show in February, we're going to actually interview the brain behind the SportsMind AI. But all season long, we've asked SportsMind to evaluate 3 players for us. Well, since we don't have to do players this week, I did something else. I asked the AI, what type of fantasy league is the most challenging? Dynasty, keeper, or redraft? Now, Sir Whittington responded, ultimately, the most challenging depends on your personal style and what you enjoy most about fantasy football. If you're driven by long-term strategy, Dynasty might be your fit. While those who enjoy annual fresh starts, they might find redraft leagues more challenging. Speaking of which, if you're looking for advice on any fantasy league strategy or player decisions, feel free to ask SportsMind AI. And I got to ask you guys, because I know Rick loves Dynasty. So we'll start with you, Rick. Is Dynasty your most challenging?
Dynasty is my favorite, but the hardest one for me is contract or auction leagues. A lot harder because you're dealing with dollars and you have to be able to budget out the team. So I would say those are the 2 most challenging for me.
Especially auction leagues where your free agent cap comes from your draft cap. The pile of money is the same. So you got to save some for free agency. How about you, Joe?
For me, my favorite is redraft. Dynasty is definitely the most challenging for me. I just started playing Dynasty 2 seasons ago, so I'm just getting used to what the rookie picks carry for value. Just all the little nuances of Dynasty, the long-term decisions, the looking ahead a year, seeing everything through a 2-year window as opposed to what could happen in just one season. It's a bit of an adjustment period for me, and that's why Dynasty is more challenging. Redraft, I've been playing for 25 years, so that's my game of choice.
Pack, what about you?
I love to play Dynasty. Dynasty is my favorite game because I can build a team of which I like. And the keeper is most challenging for me. The keeper leagues,
especially when
sometimes it's hard to pick the right keepers.
It is. It absolutely is. Sometimes it's hard for me to draft the right players in a redraft. Tipp, which one do you like best? And which one's most challenging?
I like them all. But for me, I gravitate more towards redraft because if I make a mistake in a season, like for instance this year, I drafted Tyreek Hill, I drafted Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce so much wasn't a mistake, but in my dynasty league, I was like, I'm going to pair up, guys that are longer in the tooth or older players, but I'm going to pair them up with some young studs. And it kind of backfired on me this year, especially as high as I took Tyreek Hill. But I like redraft because if I make a mistake like that, I don't have to suffer. I can actually, just, all right, clean slate next year and go out there and pick more players in. But I will say this, Dynasty is fun because Dynasty allows you to keep relevant in fantasy football all season long. Because right now, in a couple of my Dynasty leagues, we're starting up. I'm in a startup league that we're starting up now, and we're about to do our draft here at the end of April after the NFL draft. We're going to do our draft, and it's going to be fun. And that does make it fun because I'm already starting to look at college players now. I'm starting to look at players that, maybe I didn't know about from college and trying to, analyze them and see what they can bring to the table.
Hey, the truth is, in fantasy football, there ain't no off season. You got to be preparing year round. You really do. I prefer redrafts because I'm old and I can't think down the road that far. I don't trust myself to be around 5 years from now. So I want to do my stuff right now.
You'll be here, Greg. You'll be here with your Sinatra hat and everything.
Well, I won't be here because I'm moving to Tennessee. We did put an offer on the house that was accepted. Now we're just waiting for the walkthrough and the inspection. So
congratulations.
Looking forward to moving to Chattanooga, Tennessee. So if you're listening and you're from the Chattanooga area, get in touch because we're going to be looking for new friends to hang with. Tipp and Rick are going to be gone for me, so I won't be able to go to lunch with those guys anymore. So, which, by the way, is a mistake. Rick took us to Wunchie Brothers, and I ate everything on my plate like I was taught to, and I was in a food coma for 2 days, literally 2 days. So,
yeah, I mean, the
don't go out with them unless. If you're going to go out with them, be sure to take a bag. But we've got another section we want to hit, and that's the wild card round. All right? So we're going to go through each game, pick a winner and a loser, and then later on, we want to pick one road winner, and we want to, talk about upsets maybe. But I know that these guys have done extensive research. I'm going to start with our guest, Pac. And Pac, the first game is the LA Chargers at 11-6, traveling to my current hometown of Houston, Texas, 10-7. Who do you got in this game and why?
I have the road winner in this game. I think the Chargers are going to win. I believe in the Harbour factor. Tim Harbour is a very good coach. He has a very good quarterback. And C.J. Stroud is...
Heck, Harbaugh coached somewhere else before he went to the Chargers. Do you remember where that was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't mention any Michigan or Detroit player.
The Niners, he goes to the Niners.
No, that was close.
Before the Niners, he coached quarterbacks for the Raiders.
Yeah, but after the Niners, he coached at a small school that won the national championship.
Yes, of course, Michigan Wolverines.
Good job, Pac.
Yes,
Hey,
but you know what, Pac? I'm a little disappointed. You picked the division rival, our most hated team.
I have to pick the Raiders. I hate the Chargers too, but I have to pick him. C.J. Stroud is playing a very inconsistent football this season, and I don't think that they're going to beat the Chargers.
Well, I will say this. As far as the game goes for me, I think that this is going to be a game that surprises people. A lot of people probably have this touted as like ugly, nasty, like low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game by the way, but I think it'll be entertaining. I think it's going to be you got a Jim Harbaugh with his coaching style, and then you got D'Amico Ryans with his coaching style, and you have a defense that is ready to stop the run. They're built on stopping the run. We've seen them stop teams like Detroit. And so this is going to be an intriguing one. I do think that I think the Texans actually have a chance on this one just because of the home field advantage and because I don't like the Chargers. But I will say this, though. They have been playing really well.
I want the Chargers to lose this game.
No, I'm picking the Texans. I haven't picked out as winning this game. And I know that sounds like it's an upset, but it's really not. It's really, to me, they're very evenly matched teams. They play good defense. They run the ball effectively when they have their healthy players. I think it's a good team.
No. Joe, who do you got? Chargers or
You
Texans?
go with Justin Herbert. I get it.
I also have the Chargers. They're my road win here. Since Stephon Diggs went down, Joe Mixon and the Houston running game has slowed down, given that the defenses can now stack the box with Nico Collins being the only real threat to do damage in the passing game. I mean, they also have Dalton Schultz and John Mechie, but I think that that's the difference. I mean, the Chargers defense is very solid, top 5 in the league against the pass.
I got a question for you, Joe. Do you think that Harbaugh allows Herbert to throw the ball 30 plus times in this game?
Not unless he has to. I think, Harbaugh is run the ball first, control the clock, control the pace of play, and they should be able to play with the lead most of this game. I'm looking forward to seeing if CJ Stroud can be competitive and keep it close, because, I mean, I think it could get a little bit out of hand. Not a blowout, but I think it could end up being a 2-score game if CJ Stroud is not competitive. Doesn't show.
What do you think, Rick?
Well, as the resident Texan fan, it hurts my heart to say that I'm not expecting much in that game, and I'm expecting the Chargers to win pretty easily. I think Dobbins will have a decent game, and I think Herbert's going to be able to throw. I guess we're watching to see if Quentin Johnson is going to play or not. He's been hurt, I believe, for the last and has not practiced the last 2 days. But they've definitely stepped up the offense in the passing game, and I'm expecting the Chargers to win this one. I think Stroud has not done much since losing his favorite receiver, and I'm not referring to Nico Collins. So I think he bounced back a bit, but the Chargers have a good defense. Texans have a good defense too. So I think Tipp's right. This is going to be an entertaining game, but I think ultimately I'm going with the Chargers.
Well, I'm going with the Chargers primarily because I think the better coach is Jim Harbaugh, and I think the better quarterback is Justin Herbert. I think Herbert's an outstanding quarterback, and unlike you guys, I think he does show 30 times in this game. Harbaugh's been throwing a lot more. He does what's necessary to win. And I think the Texans defense is strong enough against the run to force San Diego to throw the ball. The thing is, I hate to say this because I really don't believe in the kid. Quentin Johnston's been playing much better of late. He's been hanging on to the ball. He's been making tough catches where he gets pounded as soon as he gets the ball. So I do think that that it's going to be that. And even though it's a road game, this is not the one I'm calling my road game. That'll come a little bit later. So our next game is Pittsburgh 10-7 at Baltimore 12-5. I'm going to be amazed if this is not unanimous. I'm going to start first, and then we'll just go the opposite direction we went before. I'm going with Baltimore, and I don't think it's a particularly close game. I think this could be a 3-score game. I really do. I know Pittsburgh's defense is tough, but I'm telling you, that Baltimore team is a good team.
And Tipp and I are probably agreeing on this one, but I think that Pittsburgh makes this a lot tougher game. I think that Lamar Jackson has had his struggles against the Steeler defense. I don't even think he's got a rushing touchdown against the Steelers.
That's correct.
He's had 9 interceptions, at least 1 in the last 6 straight games. So I think that and Baltimore's only been 2-4 against the Steelers. So I think this is going to be the game that's going to be a battle. Baltimore will probably win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than most people think.
Joe?
I agree with Rick. He hit it on the nail. I just want to add that Baltimore is going to be without Zay Flowers. So this is also going to factor in. This game is definitely going to be closer to a nail biter than people think. Mike Tomlin is a very good coach, despite Pittsburgh being one and done a lot in the playoffs. He's going to have this team ready to play and ready to battle. He knows that Baltimore is wounded, and he's going to have that team ready to compete for sure. It's going to be close. I still got Baltimore though.
Who's playing quarterback?
I wish it was Justin Fields. I don't think they're going to pick him, though. I think they're going to go with Russ.
All right. It's you, Tipp.
I'm just replying Blue Chargers to Bear Fan Pete over here and said to win easily. So for me, guys, look, I think this all could have been avoided. I think that Zay Flowers could have been healthy. He would be playing this game if John Harbaugh, we just talked about Jim, but John Harbaugh did not play his starters as long as he did. He didn't have to play them the entirety of the game. Yes, I understand they wanted to win that game. They wanted to have home field advantage against the Pittsburgh Steelers, something that they've never had against them, usually in the playoffs. And I think they may have played only one game in M&T Stadium. So now they get to play at home. So that's a comforting thing. But it's uncomforting that you don't have your number one wide receiver. I said it. Yeah, he is their number one wide receiver. He's not a number one wide receiver. Not in fantasy, but he is their number one wide receiver. And he being out is huge. It's enormous. Because you know that the Pittsburghs, you're going to game plan to take Derrick Henry out of the game. They're going to do whatever they can to take him out of the game. You understand Mark Andrews is going to be there as well. But Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, they complement each other. I understand that they might be putting in a two tight end slot or two tight end back.
Yeah, likely.
With likely, I get that. But then that still leaves you without having Zay Flowers. And I know JC's going to love this. I love Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman is a monster. But Zay Flowers helps him, and they help each other vice versa. So whenever they're not in, when you have a player like Zay Flowers who opens up for all these other players, it just makes it easier for that defense. Now, the thing is that secondary going to play up to par. Here lately, that secondary has gotten a little bit better, but they are known to be get a lot of penalties against them. And sometimes Joey Porter will make mistakes, and you would try to rely on him. But that's my only concern is the whole Zay Flower thing. I actually
are you picking?
That's what I'm about to get to. I'm actually gonna pick Pittsburgh in this one, believe it or not, because I think that all of the criticism, everything that they've gone through, how bad Russell Wilson has looked, they just need one game from them. They just need one game because most likely they're going to lose in this next round, and I think that that's going to be the situation. I think that they lose in the second round, but they beat the Baltimore Ravens in an upset.
Pack, do you agree with Tipp or the rest of us?
I am agree with you, Greg. I think Baltimore is going to beat the Steelers very bad. The strikes is something very important when a team makes the playoff. And Pittsburgh ended the season in a very bad streak. And Baltimore, the other way, a very good streak, playing very sharp football. Baltimore is going to continue that streak and it's going to win.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to in that game?
Oh, I'm looking for a rushing touchdown by Lamar Jackson.
Okay, I'd like to see that too. The next game, Pack, you're first on this one, is Denver 10-7 at Buffalo 13-4. Who do you got, and what are you looking forward to?
Okay, I got Buffalo in here. Buffalo is playing ball. Also, Denver is the surprise team for me this season, but I think Bo Nix it's rookie. It's a rookie, and it's going to have rookie mistakes against Buffalo.
Yeah, Tipp.
That was a great point, Pack, that you just talked about. Sean McDermott is really good. He has a really good record against rookies, and this is a big situation for the rookie, for the young man. He's had a hell of a season. I'll give him that. Second in Rookie of the Year to me, behind Jaden Daniels. But I will say this, man. Bo Nix is something that me and Pac, we need to be concerned about him going forward. And we're already concerned about the other two quarterbacks in that division.
Yeah.
So we need to be concerned about him too. But I'll say, look, Buffalo, this is their shot. This is their chance. I think that they go ahead and they win this game. I think they win this one pretty easily. They've been running the ball effectively. Josh Allen's been getting the ball to his receivers effectively. We haven't even seen really Dalton Kincaid much of the season. I think we might see him a little bit this game. I'm really big on this. I'm really big on the Buffalo wins.
Joe?
I'm going with Buffalo. You guys touched on all the points I had. I will add that I am looking forward to see if Buffalo can neutralize Bo Nix's ability to extend the play with his legs, then I could see this one being the blowout for the week. I think Buffalo will blow him out if that's the case.
Rick?
I'm also going Buffalo and Buffalo big. I'm expecting James Cook to get a couple touchdowns. I'm expecting Josh Allen to run one in as well. I think it's going to be where Denver's defense is strong is against the pass, and with Surtain and Riley Moss, and that's not where Buffalo is going to be pushing hard on the pass. So I think that this is going to be a game that Buffalo easily wins in Buffalo.
Are any of you folks worried that there might be a lot of snow for this game?
I mean, yeah.
There's another snowstorm that's supposedly heading to the northeast, and
yeah.
I think snow could be a huge equalizer. I do expect Buffalo to win, but I think that Denver is adept at playing in bad weather games, from being up in the mountains. I just think it's going to be a closer game than you think, but I do think Buffalo wins 10 points or so. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be a hard-fought game all year. You're not really worried about snow?
Well, I mean, it's not the snow that I'm concerned. I'm more concerned about the wind factor. The snow, I mean, we've seen players. Now, the thing is, you brought up a good point about them being from Denver and knowing, the situations that could occur in snow. So a few weeks back, we saw the San Francisco 49ers slipping and sliding all over the field because they didn't have the proper footing. I do believe that Denver will have the proper footing, especially if it snows. But I'll be more concerned about the wind than I would the snow. The snow does favor the offensive side of the ball because, usually offensive players know where they're going. But I do think that it's still going to be a situation where the Broncos just can't keep up with what Josh Allen has to say.
Okay, now to me, the most interesting game this week is the Green Bay Packers, 11-6, at the Philadelphia Eagles, 14-3. Green Bay was 8-4 just a little while ago. They're a good team. They're a very good team. They've got 2 losses to Detroit, and I think 1 or 2 to Minnesota, and both of those teams are very strong. I'm not sure Philadelphia's played a team as good as Green Bay this year. I'm going with Philadelphia. I think someone told me that Hurts will be ready to play, which is important. If Hurts doesn't play, I'm swapping it. I'm going with the Packers. But if Hurts plays, that should be good enough. The Eagles have a good defense. Eagles have Saquon Barkley, who I think is a great running back this year. Later on, I'll tell you why I said this year, but I think this year he's still good to go. And so I'm going with the Eagles here. I think the game will be a hard-fought game. Rick, where are you going here?
I'm actually thinking Philadelphia wins big. I'm thinking it's going to be Barkley with a huge game. I'm also thinking Devonta Smith's going to have a day, and I don't even know, again, Hurts, you mentioned Hurts was going to play. I think Jordan Love also has an injury. So, and if he doesn't play, then I think it's going to be a blowout.
Joe?
I have Philadelphia as well. I'm worried about Jordan Love. He's been inconsistent all year to the point that I think Matt LaFleur is coaching a little bit scared. and they're running the ball too much, and they're not letting Jordan Love take chances. I think he's afraid that if he does that, then defenses will intercept the ball more. And since, in the games that Christian Watson has missed, the entire offense has just been not right.
Good call.
And Philly's pass defense is very good. They like to take chances and put pressure on the quarterback when they have a 1-2 score lead and jump on those errant passes. And Jordan Love, he if he's got to throw more than 30 passes, then he's going to turn the ball over at least, a couple, 2 or 3 times, I think. And that's going to be the difference in this game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Phil, I think, because they have Saquon running the ball most of the game, I think they're going to lean on him with Hurts being a little injured. A.J. Brown also isn't practicing, though they do expect him to play. But it's just another sign that, they won't have their foot on the gas pedal offensively. I think they're gonna run the ball more and just control the game, bleed the clock, and take it to Green Bay that way.
Tipp, is there any such thing as running the ball too much?
Not in the playoffs.
No.
But there is if you're still behind and you're running the ball and you're running out of time. So
who you got, Tipp?
I mean, look, you guys are probably gonna be like, "Oh, he's trying to do a lot of hot takes and this and that." No, I actually said it earlier this week. The Philadelphia Eagles do not want to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be waiting for them in the second round. So I think they go ahead and lose this game this week against the Green Bay Packers. I'll be honest with you. I think that the Green Bay Packers are a team that's built for the playoffs. We've seen them do it last year. They went pretty deep into the playoffs, and I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are scared of the Tampa Bay. Really, it's Baker Mayfield, but really they are scared of that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, and I feel like they are going to lay an egg this week. They've always started off slow. That's one of their things that every game that they've played, not almost every game that they played this season, they always start off slow, and then they end up picking up the pace towards the second. I just think that I understand Christian Watson isn't playing. I really don't care because they've got a stable foot of wide receivers over there that can all do great things. And so I feel like they're going to really put some pressure on him. Josh Jacobs has been running like a man possessed. He's been running just as well, not better than Saquon Barkley, but just as well as some of the better running backs out there in the league. I think that Matt LaFleur is ready for this next opportunity. I don't think that the Green Bay Packers go that much further, but I am saying it right now. The Green Bay Packers have a shot, and they should win this game. They stopped Saquon Barkley. They've already seen what Saquon Barkley did to them in Sao Paulo. If they stop, they have ways to. They have film for that game and from all of the other games. They've got enough film to see how to stop Saquon Barkley, how to stop this rushing offense, how to stop Jalen Hurts, and get up on them really quick. I think that the Green Bay Packers win.
Personally, I would love to see 3 NFC North teams in the divisional round. I would really love that. I just think it's Philadelphia. What do you think, Pat?
I think the Eagles are going to win in a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Eagles should win if Hurts play. Without Hurts, I'm going with the Packers.
Okay, well, let's go to the Washington 12-5 at Tampa Bay 10-7. Washington's got the better record. Tampa Bay has the higher seed. Pat, who do you got in this game?
This is the best game for me in the wild card weekend. I think Tampa Bay is going to win. Tampa Bay is going to win with a great game by Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans.
Did Tampa Bay beat Philadelphia earlier in the year? Because they also beat Detroit.
They beat Detroit for sure.
Yeah, that's tough. But Washington 12-5 record, guy. Tipp, you think Tampa Bay is good? I know you do because you think Philadelphia is dodging them.
I agree with what Pac says. I think it is going to be one of the most entertaining games because Tampa Bay, although they're a good team, their defense sometimes is a little suspect and they can be scored on. So that's the one benefactor for you playing against the Tampa Bay. But the other thing is the way Baker Mayfield's playing right now. The only other quarterback I thought that was playing better the last 6 weeks of the season was Joe Burrow, and we saw what Baker Mayfield did last week. And the thing about Baker Mayfield is his willingness to do the dirty work. Go the extra mile, take that extra hit, go run the extra 20, 25 yards. However it needs to be done, Baker Mayfield gets it done and does what it takes. That's why this team really hasn't skipped a beat after losing Chris Godwin in the beginning of the season. This team is just not skipping a beat. We got Jalen McMillan now. I really like this kid. I think that he's another X factor in this game. And so we got to definitely take a look at that and factor that in. I think Tampa Bay is just going to be a little too much for the rookie.
Joe, what do you got?
I'm on Tampa Bay as well. When they played in the regular season, Baker had an 80% pass completion. He threw for 4 touchdowns on Washington. I factor in Tampa Bay has a top 5 rush defense. Washington, Brian Robinson, and the Washington run game has struggled. So I think it's going to make Jaden Daniels one-dimensional, and he's going to have to try to do too much, especially if they're playing from behind. And I just think that there's not enough firepower for them to compete with Tampa Bay's. Tampa Bay's going to put up some points. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game in general. Washington will claw back a little bit, but ultimately they don't have enough firepower for Tampa Bay.
I'm wondering how Tampa Bay lost 7 games, Rick. What do you think?
Again, I'm thinking Tampa Bay, they're the veteran team. They've got better wide receivers. I think they've got the better running back, and they've got a solid veteran at quarterback. I think the only way I think that Washington has a chance is, of course, if Jaden Daniels just goes off, or if Ertz has a big game. He's probably the forgotten player on the Washington team's roster, but I'm expecting Tampa Bay to win pretty easily in this game.
Okay, I agree. I think Tampa Bay wins this game. I think Washington's record was built in a subpar division, to be honest. Last game that we're going to talk about is Minnesota 14-3 versus the Los Angeles Rangers 10-7. Minnesota's actually favored by 1.5 here, but that's my road team. Now, I know Detroit gave everybody in the league a blueprint on how to slow down Minnesota's offense and how to get to Sam Darnold. I'm just not sure the Rams have the manpower to do it. I mean, Detroit went man on man against those wide receivers and shut them down. I mean, seriously, the only receiver on that Vikings team that had a decent game was Jeremy Naylor, the third receiver. Justin Jefferson, I think he had like 3 catches. Okay, that's not that great when you're getting single covered and they're playing. I think Detroit played zero coverage 14 times in that game. Now, zero coverage means there's no safety help on the top because they're doing an all-out blitz. That's the blueprint for that Vikings offense. So I think the Vikings are going to win it because I don't think the Rams are going to be able to do what Detroit did defensively. And I just think that Vikings team is defensively, they're a very good team. They really are. They got in Goff's face all night. And, Stafford being a former Lion, I like Stafford, but no quarterback his age likes getting hit multiple times. And he's going to get hit a lot in that game. Rick, who do you have in this game?
Well, at first I was really leaning big on Minnesota because I thought they'd bounce back after the game last week against Detroit. But Minnesota did lose to the Rams in Week 8. I think that Stafford and Puka and Kupp are a really good passing attack. And again, that's one of the areas where you can beat Minnesota is by passing the ball, especially over the middle. I'm also think the Rams have a pretty decent defense. So I think this is going to be the fun game to watch. And if I was having troubles finding a underdog to say what they were going to win, this might be the upset of the at least the first, I guess, wild card.
They're only a 1.5-point dog. It's not like they're down by 4 points. They're
home dog. They're the home dogs.
Home dog, yeah.
So,
Joe, what do you think?
I have the Rams. I think it's. I mean, Sean McVay is a slightly better.
Wait a minute, Joe. Did you go with the Rams or the Vikings, Rick?
The Rams.
Oh,
the Rams.
I was going with the Rams. So
okay, so Joe, you're going with the Rams as well.
Yes, the Rams are actually my dark horse sleeper pick. If there's going to be a team that makes a run out of nowhere in this playoffs, my pick for that is going to be the Rams. They have, Super Bowl experience. Matt Stafford at quarterback. He's a far superior quarterback than Sam Darnold is. Sean McVay is a wizard. From week 12 on, the Rams defense was a top 6 defense. They can get after the quarterback, so that's what and I just think it's asinine that they're home underdogs based on the players they have on their roster compared. I mean, Minnesota going into the season, I thought Minnesota would be like a 9-8 team. And then they started winning. I started drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. I even thought they were going to beat Detroit. And that was the big rude awakening for me. I was like, what was I thinking? I should have never jumped on that Minnesota bandwagon. And I just think that the Rams are going to beat them in this game.
Tipp, who do you think? Did we lose Tipp?
He's thinking it over now. We lost your
audio. He's muted.
Tipp,
you're on mute.
There you go. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay. So I think. Can you not hear me?
Yeah. We hear you. You're good now.
Connection.
Talk.
You're good.
Tipp.
You're good. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So the connection's kind of going crazy there.
Yeah, I see JC.
I'll get out and come back in.
No, you're fine. We hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Just talk.
Oh, okay. So for me, So I think all the games are going to be fun. First of all, I think all the games this weekend are going to be fun. They're going to be easy watches. They're not going to be. I don't think any of them are going to be pretty much, except for maybe the Buffalo game. I don't think that they're going to be too many blowouts this weekend. And the same for this one. The only thing is, I don't know if the Rams could do it. Keep doing it, man. The thing about sports, and especially football, after some time, Father Time just catches up with you. We saw it with Cooper Kupp. I hate to say it. Cooper Kupp, I think, is one of the better wide receivers that we've had in some time. And he's not the same guy anymore. And Puka Nacua, he's great. He's amazing. I just don't know who's going to be their second guy. And, Higbee's still coming back from the ACL injury. You do have Whittington. You got a mixture of Tyler Johnson. You got
DeMarcus Robinson.
You got Robinson to an effect, but I think isn't he banged up too?
They got Blake Corum. That's a tremendous advantage at running back.
No, he's out.
Yeah, right? No one's mentioned Kyron Williams, but sure.
Kyron Williams is good. I like Kyron Williams. He's good for fantasy. I don't know if he's really good when it comes to NFL football. And look, earlier in the season, the Minnesota Vikings were really good at stopping the run. For some reason, they've really struggled at doing that. I think they get back to their old roots and stop this run, because in a Sean McVay offense, if you stop that run, then he's not going to be running all those crazy swing patterns and all those weird patterns that he does with the wide receivers. And some of those patterns Cooper Kupp can't even do anymore, because he can't play as well as he used to. I think it's the Vikings win. Sam Darnold had a terrible game last week. Let's don't even say what. Let's don't even sugar. He had a terrible game last week. I think that he's going to answer the challenge. I think that he's going to get whatever they need to get done in the lab and sharpen up those skills. And I think that Sam Darnold comes back and plays really well this week. Now, there is one factor that I will say, my friend or the guy that I know, we're cool. His name is JX. He is a Rams fan. He said that the Rams, that Brian Flores struggles when he plays elite quarterback, and he considers Matthew Stafford an elite quarterback. I agree. I think he is an elite quarterback. I just think that the Vikings just have a little too much for them. And I think that it's going to be a situation where the Vikings just get up on them early, and it's going to be hard for them to fight back and claw their way back into this.
All right, Pack, what do you got in this game?
I got the Vikings in this game. I believe the O'Connell and McVay know each other a lot. It's going to be a close game, but I think the Minnesota defense is going to be the factor who decide the game.
Well, that's great. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to learn about Pat Tamez and find out who he is and what he's about. So take us away, JC.
Find your win tuition and elevate your sports betting with Better Takes. Better Takes examines your betting history to uncover hidden areas that cause bankroll leaks. Uncover patterns and biases so you can break the cycle of mistakes, avoid weaknesses, and play into your strengths. Our advanced stats offer unparalleled granularity, helping you immediately spot problem areas that could be affecting your success. Use the Better Takes Edge score to gauge your expertise for each potential bet, providing clarity and confidence in your decisions. Take control of your betting journey. Download Better Takes from the Apple App Store or Google Play today and start understanding your biases for free. Before placing bets, check with Better Takes, a smarter, more informed approach to sports betting.
All right, so we're back with Pat Tamez. We've lost Tipp clearly because he's not on the screen. He may be coming back, or he may just had to run for his flight. I want to start this off. Pat, what is TD in Familia?
Okay, this is my show. I have a show with my daughter and with my childhood friend, Gil Martinez. And we talk about NFL, bets, picks, and some fantasy football too. It's a show in Spanish. We are from Mexico. And also I write in a newspaper here in Mexico too. And we had a radio show 2 years ago. We no longer do the radio show, but we are in social networks, in YouTube, Facebook, mainly.
Twitter. That's where I
Twitter,
found you.
Twitter as well. We love to play fantasy football.
Tipp, you have a question?
I'm sorry, I had to kick out and come back in. But
we're interviewing Pat, so if you have a question for him.
Yeah, no. So talk to me a little bit about your fandom when it comes to the Raiders. How did that start?
Oh, it started back in the 90s with Bo Jackson.
Oh, yeah, me too. Oh, wow, okay.
I also have here my...
Yeah, wait a minute. You guys picked the team because of a baseball player?
No, one hell of a football player.
Baseball player.
He only played half season, but was great half season.
Guy was the best football player on the field.
Yes. It started by Bo Jackson, and then I fell in love with the Raider Moyo.
Yeah.
The defense, Howie Long, Greg Townsend, every players, that kind of players.
Joe?
So I got a couple of questions for you. My daughter is 9 years old, and she's just starting to a little bit get interested in it. She doesn't really know the players. So my question for you is, how old was your daughter when she did her first fantasy football draft, and did you have to assist her in any way?
Yes, she started at 8 years when she had 8. At 9 years, she became the youngest a Scottish Bowl player.
Nice.
And
That's awesome.
and I have to assist her sometimes, mainly about the 10th round and on.
Yes.
The bottom players, she's still have troubles with them.
Okay.
But
You have her with you?
yes, she's here.
Well,
Come
bring
on.
your daughter on the air so we can see her.
Come on, say hi.
So how old are you, sweetie? How old are you? How old are you? I can't hear her. It's probably hooked up to the mic on this headphone, so that's why we can't hear her. How many fingers?
Oh, now we can't hear Pac.
Yeah, we lost Pac now.
There you go.
I have 12 years old.
12 years old,
Oh.
and you've been
I have a 12-year-old too.
And you've been playing fantasy football for 4 years. Congratulations, that's great, Rick.
Then congratulations.
Thank you.
So, just a quick comment and then a question for Pac. The comment is, Pac, have you done announcing for Spanish-speaking radio for football? Because your voice, I mean, just adds to the excitement, and especially that growl you have with the.
Thank you. No announcement. I didn't have the opportunity to do so, but we do have a radio show and talk about the weekly games.
Well, and my question is, and again, I know that the NFL has expanding its into parts of Europe and England, Germany. I also know that they've played games in Mexico City. So how much of a market do you think there is in Mexico?
There is a lot of market. It's the second sport here. The first sport is soccer.
Sure.
But after soccer, the NFL is the most watched sport. Here in my city, we have a lot of fan clubs of every team, and we do once a year, we get together, all the fan clubs, and we have about 10,000 people reunited.
Well, what do you think is the most popular team in Mexico?
Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, because the residents
They
of
win.
yeah, they win. But there are a lot of Steelers fans, Raiders fans, Cowboys fans, a lot.
Tipp?
49ers also.
Yeah.
Tipp?
My last question, Pac, my last question to Pac is: let's go ahead and imagine, Pac, both of us Raiders fans. This is 5 years from now. We're in 2030.
Try 10.
The Raiders are.
I hope the Raiders are at least a playoff team.
Look,
I'm not going to say the Super Bowl champs, but a playoff team. I hope so.
No, look,
A regular playoff team.
You know what I think?
Heck,
I think Tom Brady wants to put a stop to what Patrick Mahomes is doing right now. That's what I think is going on.
I hope so.
I think if the Raiders want to be a playoff team, Tom Brady has to come out of the GM chair and get behind the center.
Hey, it could happen.
No, it can't.
But Pat, I want to hear your announcement when the Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs and they go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
They just scored a touchdown.
Of course, it's going to be nice. They have to start right now with a good pick of a head coach and GM. They cannot miss this one.
Yeah, they can't. 100%. They can't.
Okay, we're going to slide right into the Curse of 370 discussion.
Yes.
And I don't know if Pac has ever even heard about this, but we will explain it. The Curse of 370 came out, I think Rick said he Googled it and found it going back to 2005. I wrote an article about it in the 2010s, somewhere between 2000 and 2010. I revisited that article a couple of years ago. And then basically what it says is that if you, as a running back, get 370 touches in a single season, the next year you will have a degradation, generally a major degradation of fantasy points, and you will not be worth the draft pick. Now, there's an old saying that says you can't win your fantasy draft in the first round, but you can lose it. And here's where Curse of 370 comes in. If you take Saquon Barkley next year in the first round, you're an idiot. Okay? Now, I know not everybody agrees with me, but I'm going to explain why I say that. 2016, David Johnson, 24 years old, had 373 touches, scored 407.8 points. 2017, he scored 13 points, a 97% drop. He missed all but one game, missed 15 games. 2017, Le'Veon Bell, 25 years old, 406 touches, 341.8 points. Oh, my goodness. 2018, 0 points. He missed all 16 games. 2018, Ezekiel Elliott, 23 years old, 381 touches, 329.1 points. Now, he played in only 15 games that year. They held him out one game. The next year, he played all 16 games, scored 311 points, a 5% drop, but he played one extra game. Still, 5% drop to me is pretty flat, so Ezekiel Elliott is the outlier so far. 2019, Christian McCaffrey, 23 years old, 403 touches, 471.2 points. Oh, the next year, 90.4 points, 81% drop, and he missed 13 games. 2020, Derrick Henry, who Joe Carlton says he's just built different. Yes, he is. He's a big back with speed. He had 397 touches at 26 years old, scored 331 points. The next year, he missed half the year. He missed 8 games. He had a 52% drop in scoring. He went down to 193.3. Now, 193.3 in 8 games is pretty good performance while he's there, but he still missed 8 games, and you had to draft him in the first round.
He got a freak injury and broke his foot. What?
I don't care what happened. Every one of these guys had something happen.
It wasn't like it was wear and tear on his body.
And he's wear and tear on the body. It's all freak. 21, Najee Harris, 23 years old, 381 touches, 300.7 points. The next year, he only missed 3 games, but he scored 223.9 points. That's a 26% drop. Not so bad, but the problem is you're taking him in the first frickin' round, and it's killing you. 2022, Josh Jacobs, 24 years old. If you're getting 370 touches, you're usually a young player, all right? 393 touches, 328.3 points. The next year, he only missed 4 games, but he only scored 181.1 points, which is a 45% drop. 2023, Christian McCaffrey at 27 got 339 touches. He didn't hit 370, but he's also not 24. 391 points, 0.3. The next year, this year, 47.8 points. If you drafted Christian McCaffrey in the first or second round, you're cursing him right now. 88% drop in scoring, missed 13 games. This year, there was one back that got 370 touches. His name, Saquon Barkley. He's 27 years old, which is not a young man. He got 378 touches. He scored 355.3 points. We don't know what he'll get next year, but I surmise he will drop at least 40% and will not be worth a 4th-round pick. Also of interest, okay. Oh, by the way, since 2021, they've gone from 16 to 17 games. So these guys are getting less touches over more games. Bijan Robinson had 365. He's a young guy, but so were the other guys that had the curse of 370. He didn't hit 370. Will he go down next year? We'll see. Kyron Williams had 350. Derrick Henry had 344. I worry about Kyron because he's got competition at the position. You didn't see it this year, but I think he might next year. I worry about Bijan because he was very close to 370. And I worry about Derrick because he's over 30 years old. And most people that do fantasy know that 30-year-old running backs tend to drop off rather quickly. So we're going to discuss this real quickly now, and I'm going to go to the one guy that I know doesn't believe in the curse. Joe.
Well, I believe I don't want to say I don't believe in it, but I think there's got to be more factors than just what happened this season. Like for Bijan, for instance, this was the first season he proved he can handle 350 plus touches. He's going into his prime third-year season. They do a good job getting him the ball in space, and I think he's primed for a monster season. It would take a freak injury. Now I understand that's part of the curse, but I'm not fading Bijan in 2025.
Well, you're not bagging Saquon.
So Saquon. So I will say that I have Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of Saquon in 2025, but if I'm picking in the middle of the first round and guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson are gone, I'm going with Saquon. I would take Saquon over Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's basically my threshold. If there's a better wide receiver ahead of St. Brown, then I will fade Barkley. I do think I'll have a lot less. I had a lot of Barkley this year. I do think I will have a lot less next year. I just the opportunity to draft him isn't going to be there every time. I mean, I do factor in his usage, his age. But I will say this, Jalen Hurts takes a lot of the short yardage goal line touches. So, I mean, the chances of him getting injured are less than your normal running back. His touches are pretty safe, and he is an athletic freak.
Okay, Pat, have you ever heard of the curse of 370?
Not exactly, but I know that the running backs with 300 or more touches don't last long.
They don't. So what do you think? Are you drafting Saquon next year?
I have a really big trouble with this next year. In my home league, we have a 14-team league redraft with one keeper. And I had Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, well, I'd trade him. I would trade him today. I really would. I would trade him for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs is a very good option. But next year I pick in the 14th place.
No, you won your league.
No, I was third place. I'm in 11th place. Okay. I draft in the 11th place, and I don't think there is going to be a better player than Saquon Barkley in that spot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if he loses 45% of the scoring, there's going to be a lot of players better than him.
Yeah, for sure.
Rick, what do you think of the curse?
So I think the curse is got more grounding than other curses like the Sports Illustrated curse or the
Madden curse.
The Madden curse and even the Super Bowl curse. I think that there is some sense of reality behind overuse of running backs, especially in the NFL. The one exception that I was able to find was Eric Dickerson. In fact, I think in '83 he went from 1,800 yards to 2,100 yards. So he was the curse didn't affect him. And in fact, in '88 he also went from 1659 to 1311. So I guess there was some drop off, but you're still getting 1,300 yards from your running back.
You got to count the touchdowns still in the games missed. The curse is more than just the yardage.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't have the TDs from back in the 1980s. So, but anyway, I think that I will still go after Saquon Barkley. I'm definitely going after Bijan Robinson. I tend to look more for wide receivers because I think just in general, even though this year there were some wide receiver injuries, they are less injury prone and so less volatile. But since I play mostly Dynasty, I'm in rookie draft. So yeah, I guess I don't have to worry about curses and rookies. So
Tipp, you believe in the curse? And if so, are you going after Saquon or are you avoiding?
I think at the right cost, I would still go after Saquon because,
right cost is going to be in the first round. You need to know that it's going to be in the first round.
I don't know, Greg. I mean, you got a lot of people coming up. You look at what Bijan Robinson did. Look at what Chase Brown did this year. Look at what Brian Thomas did this year. I think
you think any of those are going to have a higher ADP than Saquon Barkley?
Maybe or Bijan for sure.
No, he won't.
I think Bijan.
Bijan definitely.
Bijan.
Yeah, Bijan, Soul Gibbs.
Gibbs. But you're right. I think it's going to be tough sledding to get him in the second round. So for that, I guess you're right. I wouldn't go after him in the first 100%. I do believe in the curse. I do believe that it is a thing. Look, Barkley had a lot to prove this year. He was just dropped by the Giants. He had a lot to prove them and a lot to prove to the NFL. And there were some games where he was a little banged up, and he still found himself back on the field. Where if he was playing for a team like the Giants, maybe those little banged up little nicks and knacks, they would have turned into something a couple of week injuries. So that's the only thing I would say. I think that he was so highly motivated for this season that it's going to be a shame again if they lose this weekend because he's so highly motivated. I had to throw that in there. But I still think that it's going to be a situation where if Saquon Barkley's there at the second round, I'm jumping on it because I most likely got a really good wide receiver at that point. If you could partner him up with that, or if he lasts until if he's a 12th pick, that's why I'm really going to be going towards the last part of the rounds next year. I want the 10, 11, 12 because I can have a shot.
If you know going into the draft that Saquon Barkley was going to miss 6 games and he was going to score 45% less points than he did last year, what round would you draft him in?
Second, third.
Not me. It'd be 6th or 7th.
Because no, Greg, because you know what you're going to get from him. The only thing that
if you knew he was going to miss 6 games.
But when he's active, he's gonna.
Well, and he was going to drop 45% of his scoring. That means those 6 games, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that really scares me about Saquon Barkley is I thought the tush push was going to be something in the past, and it's evidently not. It's still here because I think Saquon Barkley still had about anywhere from 6 to 8 touchdowns that he could have had if it wasn't for that tush. So maybe you're on the right, maybe onto something. Maybe I'm a little too high on Saquon Barkley. Maybe I'm just because of what I've seen him do. But once the season comes in,
I think everybody on the panel. I think everybody on the panel, with the exception of myself, is high on Saquon. And we will know at the end of next year who was right. I expect the 3 of you, Pack hasn't committed because he had never heard of it before. I expect the 3 of you to issue mea culpas next year when you see Saquon finish in, the running back 14 spot because of missed games. Now, that
what are you
said,
going to do, Greg?
I'm not drafting him. He's going to go too early for me.
So, quick point.
He's going to go first or second round. I'm not drafting him there.
You are totally fading Saquon. You are totally fading Saquon next year?
Well, because if I could get him in the 5th or 6th round, I'd take him, but he's not going to fall that far.
Let me ask you this, Greg, okay? Say he does drop off 45% and he misses 6 games, okay?
Yeah.
Your team still makes the playoffs, okay? Your fantasy team still finds a way to make the playoffs. You drafted while you picked up guys off the waiver, while you managed your team, while you got them in. Now Saquon is healthy, and he does what Saquon does, and you go on to win a fantasy championship.
Let's say he misses those 6 games at the end of the year.
Then I'm playing devil's advocate with you.
Yeah. So people
I'm not touching it.
Yeah. So people tend. So people tend to fade running backs after they get to be 28. And they say, oh, they're
30.
rolling off the cliff
30.
in the running backs. But look, Derrick Henry is 31. And if you would have faded him, you would have lost out on 16 touchdowns and 1,900
What
yards.
round was Derrick Henry drafted in last year?
Second round.
I don't think of the first round.
No, it
I'm
wasn't the
doubting the second round either.
Second or third
It was
round.
later than that.
Second round in the drafts I was in.
So
Well, pull up Fantasy Pros ADP and go look, and you'll find. I think he was in the third or fourth round is where he went.
but are you going to fade him
turns.
next year? Or are you
No.
going to go ahead
I'm
and say,
gonna
I'm
fade
grabbing
him.
him?
I am going to fade him next year because he's over 30, and because he had a lot of touches this year, and because he doesn't catch the ball. And I play in point per reception leagues. I don't play in any standard leagues.
And
In a standard league, I would still draft Derrick Henry next year.
he's going to be gone by the fifth round also.
Yeah, just so I won't draft him. He'll be gone by the second or third round next year. He'll go early.
Yeah. For
So,
sure.
yeah. Okay, so we had one more topic I wanted to get to. It's a bonus topic. We're over time, but we don't care because we like to discuss football.
Yeah.
All right. Pac, I'm going to start with you. Who is your most disappointing team or player from last year?
Oh, from that year.
Mhm.
The most disappointing, this has to be Christian McCaffrey and also Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, Trevor Lawrence is a good one because he played. I mean, he did get hurt a little bit, but he played most of the year. It was
He
just,
played very bad.
For me, it was Blake Corum. I thought he would start the season sharing, and he didn't. And he never really became a full-time share. He never averaged 10 touches per game, which I thought 10 to 15 touches per game he would get so they could preserve Kyron. And they didn't. They gave Kyron 29 carries in one game. Joe, who's your most disappointing player or team?
For me, it's the New York Jets. They came into the season with a top 5 defense, a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They went out and traded for Devontae Adams, and they still finished 5-12. They were supposed to compete for the AFC East at the very least, and then possibly, if Aaron Rodgers had a miraculous year, contend for a Super Bowl with that roster that they have. And they ended up firing Saleh, which did them no good. I'm not a big fan of Saleh, the head coach, but what he does for the defense, and their defense just unraveled after that, and it just went downhill. So for me, it's definitely New York Jets.
Rick, who do you got?
Oh, I could rattle off all my rosters, but how about Kirk Cousins? He was expected to help Atlanta. That never happened. And Deontay Johnson, I have about 7-8 shares of him across multiple teams. And he was supposed to go to Carolina and be the number one target there. Didn't happen. Then he went to Baltimore, I think, just so that they could keep him away from other teams because they had no intention of playing.
I'm a little disappointed in Detroit. They lost to Tampa Bay, and that's disappointing. But other than that, that's our show for tonight, folks. We'd like to thank our guests. Pat, tell our audience where they can find your work.
Okay, they can find me in Twitter or X right now as Pac Tames TDF. Pac Tames TDF on Facebook and YouTube as Touchdown en Familia.
All right, Al, thank you very much for appearing back. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for having me.
Joe and Rick, thank you so much for taking over for us. Next week on Thursday night, 7 p.m., our regular time, Noah Bernstein, the CEO of Locker Fantasy Sports, will be our guest.
Great.
Nice.
Take us out, JC.
See you guys. Thank you.